one thing you always were supposed to ask your father was, "What did you do during the war, Daddy?" Well, I'm going to do a twist on that. I'm going to say, "What did you do during the war, Mommy?" Now, I'm going to talk about her story as if it was a Hollywood blockbuster. And Millie Bobby Brown will play my mother because she's 21 or 22, the same age my mother was when she was in World War II. Now, our story starts out. We're in the Pentagon. There's Dwight, and it's sort of a fictionalized version too. There's Dwight D. Eisenhower with his dog Thala, and there's President FDR with his dog, and there's the George Patton and the 5 women who worked in the Pentagon, one of which was my mother. And now we flash back to her childhood. It was 1922 in Woodstock, Illinois, about 60 miles northeast of Chicago. She was sort of an unwanted child, an unexpected child. You see, her parents were 49 years old when they had her. Her father wanted a boy, called him Frank. Well, my mom was a disappointment. She was a girl. So he just called her Frankie. She was so young that she went to school with her nieces and nephews, and they were older than she was. And they called her Aunt Frankie. She hated that. Her peers didn't treat her any better. Her father made bathtub gin and was sort of the town drunk, and they teased her mercilessly. But she decided she'd never depend on anyone but herself, and one day she would show them. Flash forward to 1942. The country was at war. She was working for a mechanic, Frank Goodwin, and but she wanted more than that. She remembered this poster from the 1917, which said, "Gee, I wish I was a man. I joined the Navy. Be a man and do it." Well, she said, "Well, I'm a woman, but I'll join the Navy anyway." You see, in 1942, the law changed so the women could serve in the military. There was the WACS, the Women Army Corps, and the WAVES, Women Appointed to Volunteer Emergency Service, the Navy. So she joined the Navy in December of 42. January, she went into service, and she had her training, and then ended up in the Pentagon. Well, you see, the Pentagon itself was a brand new thing at this point. It was only built in 1941 and 1943. Before that, they met in 17 different locations all across the area. Hell. And so she was one of 5 women who worked at the Pentagon. In fact, she might have been one of the 5 women that ever worked in the Pentagon. She made friends in the service. She wrote to them the rest of her life. And of course, our story had some romance too. My mother caught the eye of an African-American general, and he proposed marriage. But she said, because of the times, it wouldn't be fair for the children. So she turned it down. But then there was a family emergency. Movies always have a twist. Well, her mother, a month before she went into service, had a heart attack at 71 years old. So she said, "I really need to go back to be home and have me be in Chicago." She got the Red Cross verified the stories, and she got recommendations from the doctor and her mother and her friends. And her people, they said, "Oh, she is such a hard worker. She's dedicated, she's loyal, and she would never ask for this unless without the emergency situation." But you know, she was just so good, they couldn't find anyone to replace her, so she stayed working in the Pentagon. And and then she had a promotion. She was granted the secret clearance. She could read and compose and file special secret documents. And she served until September of 1945. she was very well accepted and loved by the people. She got a letter from the Navy Department. Dear Miss Frankie, on the occasion of your release from active duty, I desire to express my appreciation of the service which you rendered to the Navy in time of war. During your assignment as yeoman from June 1944 to September 45, you performed your duties in a manner which met with the high standard of the naval service. The qualities of intelligence and devotion to duty which you displayed contribute materially to the successful performance of the mission of this command. It is my hope that you will meet with every success in your return to civilian life. This was the Chief of Naval Operations. And then she got one from the Secretary of the Navy himself. I've addressed this letter to reach you after all the formalities of your separation from active service are completed. I've done so because, without formality, but clearly as I know how to say it, I want the Navy's pride in you, which is my privilege to express, to reach into your civil life, and to remain with you always. You've served in the greatest Navy in the world. It crushed 2 enemy fleets at once, receiving their surrender only 4 months apart. It brought our land-based air power within bombing range of the enemy, and set our ground armies on the beachheads of final victory. It performed the multitude of tasks necessary to support these military operations. No other Navy has any time done so much. For your part in these achievements, you deserve to be proud as long as you live. The nation which you served at the time of due crisis will remember you with gratitude. Best wishes for the Navy, to you in civilian life. Good luck.
Wow.
Yeah, flash forward 30 years. Her young son Nelson is asking her, "What did you do during the war, Mommy?" And she says, "Let me tell you a story. One day I was walking home. It was late at night. I was in my uniform going through the park when a man approached me. He was also in uniform. And he said, 'You know, I think the role of women in service is to service the men.' Well, she said, 'You're absolutely right. And the Navy has made a place just for that to happen.' He was surprised. He didn't get this kind of response normally from women. So she grabbed him by the hand, and they started walking. As time passed, he noticed it was getting more and more light. He was getting nervous, so he said, 'You know, maybe we should find someplace else.' And she said, 'Oh, no, we're almost there.' She grabbed him and just tugged him along. She went to her barracks, walked up the stairs, and said, 'You wait here.' For all I know, he's still waiting." At the end of the movie, thank you very much for your time. This is my mother.